Good evening, everyone. I'm Doug Barnsley. Welcome to City Hall, Prospect City Hall. This is a regular city council meeting. Okay, it's Monday, August 18th, 2025, at 7 o'clock. Call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes of the July 21, 2025 special council meeting and the July 24, 2025 regular council meeting. So I'll ask first for a motion with regard to minutes. First, I'll ask if there are any additions or corrections to the minutes of July 21, 2025. If not, is there a motion to approve those minutes? So, motion's been made and seconded. It's a vote on the minutes of the July 21, 2025 special council meeting. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, Christian. Sorry. Any opposed? Those minutes stand approved. Next, the July 24, 2025 regular council meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes as distributed? So made.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve those minutes. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda. Comments from citizens. We've got two people signed up, but if there are any, and those, that's Elisa Pertimo. Welcome.
Thank you.
Is anyone else? You all are on this agenda. That's you all on the agenda. This one. Okay. With that said, Lisa, if you want to step up and over here.
Oh,
And
okay,
give us your name and address. And you get 3 minutes.
okay. I'm supporting the live in the states of Huntington Creek, 6511 Mississippi Circle. I have been in touch with Mayor Barnsley. Thank you for being so responsive. We have a very huge problem with the deer population. Every night there's a dozen, maybe 15 deer. They sleep in our yard. There's deer feces everywhere. They eat all my flowers. Ron kind of had responded to one of my emails and he said, just plant deer resistant plants. That doesn't work. I can give you an example. William Valley is supposed to be deer resistant. If you Google it, it says deer resistant. But I had some from my mother's yard, my deceased mother, put them in my yard. The deer just devoured. I planted a plant on Sunday in the afternoon. 30 minutes later, I went to water and it's gone. They had already eaten it. So, I mean, we don't come into the neighborhood and buy a house. I mean, we have almost an acre lot. You don't buy a house with an acre lot on it and I'll never be able to plant flowers because of the deer. I just asked my neighbor if this is Elizabeth, my neighbor, I just asked her if she had planted flowers in her yard. She said, no, I gave up. Like, so you don't really buy a home thinking you can't have flowers if you're a gardener. I love to garden. So I think that something needs to be done. Part looked up on the internet some things, there were some things about it. Was it?
You can chemically spade the females with the dart. One shot. And that doesn't.
We're going to have to go to, I'm sorry.
So like the vaccination or I called the Fish and Wildlife Department and they told me if they're destroying my land, I could take them out. And I said, take them out, what does that mean? Kill them? And they said, yes, you could kill the deer. I mean, I would never do that. The deer are beautiful. That's a life. You don't want to do that. But then on the other hand, we can't put a fence up in our yard because we live in the estate section, which is a very antiquated law, if you ask me. But so what do? So I'm coming to you to ask for help because that's what. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
So I talk pretty loud. I just stand here.
No, we need you to keep the microphone. We got a member who.
My mother said I took one deep breath when I was a kid, and I could. Sorry, I'm walking like this. I'm just learning how to walk again. That's why. I acquired the 3 subdivision in Pennsylvania and state of New York, Florida. And it cost between $25 and $35 to have a truck for them, shoot a bunch of females, and they stop reproducing. And it's not an overnight fix, but over the next few years, they thin the herd. And that's pretty amazing. I mean, I have a crossbow and I'm a hunter, and I'm not going to shoot a deer in the backyard, chase it over to my neighbor's yard. And you can't discharge a weapon unless you have at least 10 acres. So the whole idea of us taking our own deer, that's not. I think the sterilization is an easy solution and not expensive.
Thank you, folks. And if you would send me an email, we'll set up a time to get together and talk about these issues. If so, then I will.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you both for everything.
Oh,
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So the next item on the agenda is a presentation of flag from the Michigan City by Sons of the American Revolution.
My name's Chris Canada. I'm Mayor. Thank you for having us as council members. We've been participating here at the city for several years. And we were a part of the flagpole dedication here with the city. And every year we had the opportunity to present a certificate to a community or a city that displays excellent posting of the flag and proper flag code. And so I'd like to present this to the city of Prospect. This certificate of the commendation is presented by myself in recognition of exemplary patriotism and display of the flag of the United States of America, the 18th of August, 2025, by our chapter. Just in recognition of the city and the great things that you're doing here for our country. And one aspect would be how you proudly display the American flag. I drive home every night from work, second shift, I get to see the flag waving proudly outside of City Hall here, and we just want to recognize the effort you've made for patriotism.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Thank you. Thanks so much. I'll mention that Chris and John are members of the Isaac Shelby chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution. They've been very active in the city, we're most appreciative. Notably, they served as our grand marshal really for our parade, which is allowed for at least this year and last year. And that going forward in the future for the July, they were here for our Veterans Day celebration. That's almost 3 years ago now. Almost 3 years this time we dedicated the new flagpole and participated in that ceremony. They've also donated a beautiful bench to the city, which is now on the little circle down here in Little Bang Creek Park, commemorating the 250th anniversary of birth of our nation. So thank you for all you do. It's really very meaningful and makes a big difference for the city. So we're very appreciative.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the mayor's. So I will conclude this evening. 4 matters. 1, an upcoming special council meeting regarding public safety. 2, a meeting of HOA residents that we will schedule. 3, a further monkey landfill and recycling tour that will take place on August 28th. And 4, US 42 roundabouts. First, I've asked Assistant Police Chief McKeon, Kerry Rankhorn, and Carolyn Scammon to help me plan a special council meeting to address public safety issues. Anticipating that the meeting will probably be an hour to 75 minutes in length, and it will take place in early October. I see the meeting including 1 or 2 brief presentations by Assistant Chief McKeon, Chief Denham, and perhaps retired FBI agent Terry Rankin. They will include data on crime. In 2024 and 2025, we had X number of car thefts, all occurring in the early morning hours. In 5 of those thefts, there were no signs of forced entry. And firearms located within a blank number of those cars, and thus those firearms were also stolen. Here's what we know about the types of groups that are responsible for these crimes. And there are other topics that we could have remarks on. The meeting would also include an opportunity for citizens and council members to speak. What I envision is an informative meeting, not just turns into a break session. We need to do more to educate our residents about the crime we have in the city. And what they can do to help prevent that crime from happening. Second, I plan to begin holding quarterly meetings of our HOA group. This will give us an opportunity for the presidents to get to know our staff, the police, and one another. Presidents will be able to help us communicate to our residents the steps they can take to help prevent criminal activity. The reality is that we live in an extraordinarily safe city, but we have an opportunity to make it even safer. Third, on August 28th, we're planning a further tour for our residents at the Rumpke Cincinnati landfill and nearby recycling facility. 10 residents have signed up, and I anticipate that more will do so. I participated in the June 17 Rumpke tours. If you will sign up for the August 28th tour, I assure you you will find the day to be informative and enjoyable. Finally, I will report briefly on the meeting this morning about roundabouts. Don Gibson, John Clark, or Phil Haber, and I met with representatives of the Transportation Cabinet. We do that quarterly, just to stay in touch with them about how plans are progressing. Construction is scheduled for 2028 or 2029. This project and the development of the head property, vacantly on the other side of firehouse, are tangible examples of ways in which we can create a brighter future for Prospect. We already live in a terrific city, but it will be even better when these projects are in place. So that concludes the very report. The next item on the agenda is financial reports.
We got to our fiscal years. About 3.4 change in the bank index of KLC investments of around $3 million, and we had checking around $200,000. Sprint road aid balance is currently at $152 roughly $1,000. Depending on what happens tonight, and after the project will change, but after tonight, it's $7,000 change. I think that covers most things. Being the first month of the fiscal year, but I'll answer any questions if you have.
Any questions for John?
You know, this is Christian Furman. The screen I can't see everybody now. I'm not sure what happened, but I could see you all before, and then you can see you. Okay, just the video is like the camera is blocked or something, but okay, that's fine. I don't have to see everybody, but I thought there was some button somebody could push to.
We have to see you in order for you to vote, so I'm glad we can see you. Okay, commission and board reports for safety board. Number not.
We had a very productive meeting last Thursday. The focus was the fall tree program.
trees. We ordered 50 trees for our residents. We're going to have October glory maple, a Coosa dogwood, a little gem magnolia, a white oak, and a Princeton elm. So I think it's all going to be very popular. We have a canopy program that we're just put together some interesting opportunities of up to 20 trees. This is the one that's a shared partnership. I think somebody who participated in it. We're going to have the American Yellowwood available, Burgundy Velvet Maple, a Fall Fiesta Sugar Maple, a Green Spire Maple, an Espresso Kentucky Puppy Tree, and a Triumph Elm. So we're working on communication to get this out to the community, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting. We are looking at dates for Arborfest, and traditionally we've done a joint event with the book sale and the Arborfest. We also have Kids Fest going on in October, so we need to sort out how to best coordinate some of these events, and I think that's a discussion that's being held with some of the different people that are involved. So that was good. We also had some discussion on working with the city to improve the documentation for code enforcement and how we communicate to owners now that we have our updated ordinance. And there's a time that they need to take out a tree or remediate something so it's a safer tree. So that's pretty much what we've been up to. All trees are the big story right now. So, any questions?
Any questions for Linda? That was a good meeting. I thought the forestation were getting pretty good. So thank you for your work and work of every volunteer. Next report is Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. In the veterans here.
Approved for the Bear Farm site and given us front on the Parks Advisory Committee with Hyper Trails at Putney Pond. There's some damage to the Freedom Bridge and the boardwalk, so we had discussion on how to repair that. And fortunately, we had received an estimate from a contractor. So it looks like we're going to be able to get those repaired. I don't know if you know, but Putney Pond is heavily used, especially I think by our local citizens. So it'd be nice to get those up and going again. And volunteers continue to be an issue. We're trying to explore reaching out to local youth groups and maybe starting a friends group of like Friends of Putney Pond just to help with some maintaining the trails and events of the Kid Fest. In our announcement for the recruitment of a student member for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee has gone out to 6 high schools. We've expanded our network a little bit, so we're hoping to get a strong pool of candidates. So far, we have two applications, and the deadline's on Friday. Typically come in the last minute. Added an email, able to email that application in. So I think mailing it in is too expensive. Yeah. Then registration for the trail badge is open. We've already had a few people registered for that. And there are 2 concerts remaining at Wilton Creek Park. And the second annual Pit Fest is scheduled for October 19th. That was rescheduled. Any questions?
Thanks.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. And the youth advisory member committee is at 2 now. We both are a great change. You know, I think that's your idea. So we appreciate that. There's some kind of issues.
The first meeting went summer was Thursday. What has happened since last time is that we report the draft report of the collection of solid waste movement in draft form. The board had not had a chance to read it for their meetings since last Thursday. And what the board has done now is give the report to the advisory committee and the advisory committee that there in this meeting. Why this is important, but even if it needs some orders to draft report, it is very clear that while the draft report admission is not included in cities, even words in the place, this is the first step So there's no question that we have a real need to take a serious look at it. I talked briefly with some other members of the advisory committee. What we think we might do is take some concepts that may become an issue. And, well, one of them, for example, is the fact that in places where this has been done before, and where a city is taken over all trash, ultimately in a very short period of time, it had printers or some kind of a fee. It's not just 25%. So ultimately, the report is in these years. The amount right now needs, they call it stripping. When the city, of course, the city will split to what's going on and just not exploiting this. Unincorporated parts. But if you take those numbers and you put some return, some of those numbers don't make sense. And so the advisor, they try to get them to come back and money. And the advisor committee said no. So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, person who's going to try to use the medical time, blood message. So the check we have no clue what that's because he's pretty fun. Metro has been trying for years that you don't know, because I sat next to it. Has been trying to take over all waste for the entire county. And we ended up years ago getting so excited that we went to Frankfurt and we ended up getting legislation. And that put a person from the cities, almost cities, and the waste on the board, which was not true. The board was told staff with affiliation. The initial thing that happened was they were picking up the subscription areas, incorporated areas, they were picking up Metro, they were picking up Humboldt City. And someone went in and said, you can't do what you're doing in the way you're gathering Humboldt City data. And their attorneys advised them that while they were doing nothing wrong, that very probably should think about what they were doing. So they theoretically took the Humboldt City data from the report, but it's all still there. And the paragraphs that might have dealt with it are still in it. So it's just more political.
Well, thank you for working on. I think it's generally been on that issue.
I know about it.
Yes, everyone. Okay, thank you. I really appreciate that. Please report. You got some mic right here.
Well, yeah.
Good.
Since we kind of breeze over the statistics, people do something that we more detailed breakdown of what our calls for service were this month. Okay, so for the month of July, we had 56 traffic stops, 16 non-injury accidents, 1 injury accident, 7 citizen assists, only 1 misdemeanor report, only 1 felony report. We did 9 call response reports for crimes that occurred outside of the city to our residents. 1 miscellaneous, and we had 1 warrant arrest that came from a suspicious person calling. So, we had 173 dispatch runs. We had 273 officer initiated runs, 25 burglary, robbery, and firearms. And no code enforcement citations. This, we looking into
mean, everybody's aware, I think, of the burglary in the Sutherlands involving Mr. Clay. And we do have a vehicle of interest that we're following up on, and so we do have at least a lead on that. Where it goes, we don't know, but we do have something that we're following up on. We have a shift in tactics. The car hoppers typically in the past have checked door handles, and if the cars were unlocked, they moved on to other vehicles. Well, now they've changed their tactics and they are starting to actually break into vehicles, pickup trucks specifically, because they've decided that there probably is a higher probability of a firearm being inside of a pickup truck. So they're targeting those specific. Pardon their profile. Yeah, yes, to a degree. Now, that being said, I just found out today that KSP arrested the guys that have been doing it. So they are, the two of the three that we're doing it are currently in jail. And they were arrested in the county outside of Jefferson, so they may actually go to jail. But we are working with KSP, we're following up with them, they're gonna do search warrants for GPS that have them there. We'll see if we can connect them to ours. It's just like some of the other surrounding counties. Also, we cleared 6 cases, 3 felonies, and 3 misdemeanors by submitting criminal complaints for warrants, one of which has already been served and waived up to the grand jury. The Fox Harbor radar sign is being moved. It's measured 24,470 cars, and only 2 exceeded 35 miles an hour, and 2.5% exceeded the speed range where we could stop them. So we don't see any significant issue there, and that sign is going to be moved over. Or the new sign on Gunpowder.
How long was it in that location?
2.5 or 3. So I can actually give you the. Okay. So that sign's going to be moved over to Winter Park when we start handling that over there. The new sign on Gunpowder is monitored at 2,224 cars and indicates speed slightly higher than Fox Harbor, so we're probably going to start some enforcement in that area. Radar trailer, we moved that from the eastbound traffic over here at 42 River, monitored 108,180 cars on that, and they were pretty well behaved. Where we moved the radar trailer to US 42 and Timber Ridge, that's going to be a problem. So that's where we're going to target some of our enforcement. Because out of the 10,000 cars, full 10% are exceeding the speed zone there significantly. So we're going to target that. And what we're going to do that with is a traffic grant, which has been signed and contracts are done.
You got that car, actually, I'm taking British.
No, I'm 42. Timber Ridge is the CrossFit that I'm using for there. But the traffic grant has been approved and everybody signed off on that, so we will begin in October. We've also been approved for some more personal safety equipment from the Kentucky Attorney General, so we're up to about $40,000 that we received from them for free for body monitoring, rifle plates and helmets and some other things like that. Other than that, we're continuing to look for ways to leverage our resources and do things to it to the many of our residents to try to use it as efficiently as possible. Any questions? Yes, okay. Speeders on very. It's all. Yeah, because that direction in particular, the issue is they're coming down the hill, so they've already got some steam built up. Pretty very. Yes, east. And so westbound, they had flat space after they come down that hill, so they are kind of slowed down. But the eastbound, they're not letting it slow down. They're still just. So we're going to have to do some targeted enforcement there. There's just no way around that. I think they've had ample time to know that the speed zone is there. Because I'm personally out there stopping cars myself. And the number of people that mention and say, I didn't know they had changed. Just tells me that, I mean, that's alarming because they're clearly just not paying attention. You know, I'd rather have somebody tell me, I knew it was 35, I just decided to speed, at least they knew. You know, so they were using some degree of caution because they knew, you know, when they just don't know because they're not paying attention, that's the whole story.
Can I ask you a question? As a cost of service. There are 36 investigations. What's an investigation?
Well, an investigation could be any number of things. A lot of times when a dispatcher takes a call for service and they really don't know how to code it, like somebody calls in and says, my neighbor's light is too loud, which is something that we've actually responded to, you know, they'll call it an investigation. And sometimes the investigations are actually self-initiated calls, like where we go up and we'll do a foot patrol and probe, we call off on an investigation, and that's how they'll log in.
For your report of the commission, you sent me an email, you give me that data on the Foxfire group. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's good, it's helpful, and I want to let the residents over there know. There was so much. Appreciate that feedback.
Because the thing that you combine with that too is the fact that we haven't had any accidents. So when you combine the two.
Yeah, you can let them know. The length of time that the monitoring took place. And then the rest of the data. You can grab that, so, okay. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is unfinished business. We have one item of unfinished business, and that's the second reading, ordinance 655, series 2025, which is an ordinance amending the budget for the general fund, municipal road aid, and capital project fund of the city of Prospect for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025, and ending June 30, 2026. This is the ordinance amending the budget to set aside funds for the public-private partnership. We had a good discussion that received the first reading at our special meeting. Is there a motion to give a second reading for the ordinance and to pass it? Yes. Mayor Evans made that motion. Second. Don Clark seconded. Okay. Is there discussion? Okay, let's move to a vote. Start, Gibson.
Yes.
John Evans.
Yes.
Cole. Yes. Clark. Yes. Sandra Leonard.
Yes.
Christian Berman.
Yes,
Okay, that budget is amended by a vote of 6-0. So we'll need a reading. Mayor Evans, you can do that, please.
City of Prospect, ordinance number 655, series 2025, ordinance amending the budgets for the general fund, municipal road fund, and capital projects fund. The city of Prospect for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025, and ending June 30, 2025.
And if we
June 30, 2026.
say, oh, we got like,
Okay, so beginning July 1, 2025, and ending June 30, 2026.
thank you to the council for that. Is there any other business to come before council? Not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Second. John Evans seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Oh, thanks for participating.